Has your child become more anxious during the pandemic? Have you found helpful ways of calming their fears? Welcome to From Our Family to Yours, where we share relatable stories and helpful advice from understood community members like you. Hi, I'm Jerry from the Understood team. This week's story revolves around helping your child cope with pandemic-related anxieties and comes from understood community member Kerry in Eagle, Idaho. She writes, "Having a child with severe anxiety is really hard on a good day. Throw in a pandemic and we're on the verge of out-of-control emotions all the time. I typically handle fears with truth and facts, but it's hard for me to calm anxiety about school, when she'll see her friends again, and just how long she will have to wear the dang mask, because the truth is, I don't know." We've worked with Mia all summer to overcome her sensory issues that are really emphasized when she wears a mask. She has gone from passing out in the first 5 minutes of having it on to happily walking through the grocery store without complaint. Unfortunately, in trying to keep her healthy, we have created even more anxiety in a kid that's already high anxiety. I feel responsible for instilling fear into her, but I was only trying to keep her safe. Thanks for sharing that, Kerry. It's got to be a really delicate balance about keeping your child safe from this real danger that surrounds us and helping her feel calm and comfortable in her own surroundings. The fact that she's moved from being anxious and freaked out when you put the mask on her to the point of almost passing out to now being able to go into a store and walk around and do that well is a credit to your ability to work with her and understand and read her emotions so that you can respond to her on her own level. And it's another important message that I'm getting from your letter is that this doesn't happen overnight. You've spent an entire summer working with your daughter to help her feel more comfortable with increasing degrees of exposure to the typical or normal environment. And you've done a really good job of keeping your own worries out of her life and focusing on her needs and being respectful of her fear, but also doing the important job that a parent has to do of keeping her safe during these really unsafe times. So I congratulate you on that. Let's see what else Kerry has to say. "When she's around, I try not to spout off about articles I've read or school board meetings I've listened to when talking to my husband or girlfriends. It creates fear and uncertainty in her. I try to really listen to her feelings and validate them. I'm always optimistic that some things will be better when this is all over and that we will have normal again. I try to let her ask questions and lead the conversation, and I answer with facts rather than my feelings when appropriate. I do share my feelings, but I try to be careful so that she doesn't take my feelings as her own. It sucks right now. There's just no way to sugarcoat that. I let her be sad, angry, frustrated, but then we move on. We don't live in those feelings for long. We talk about how she's feeling, and then we try to find our happy. I know that sounds cheesy, but if we wallowed together, we would miss out on all the joy that we can find in the regular moments. I don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. I try to give her security through routine, which she loves, and a loving and fun home. We try not to spend too much time talking about tomorrow or next week. We're trying to live in the moment and enjoy our extra time together." Well, Kerry, thanks again. You're really capitalizing on this opportunity where your child's at home and not in a traditional school setting as one where you two can be together and get along and have a good time and enjoy the time that you have together. It sounds like you've done a really great job of keeping in the moment and sharing with her your worries and anxieties only when it's entirely necessary. But you're making the good point that you don't want to make your problems her problems. You're also respecting her feelings and emotions and not trying to tell her not to worry, but trying to keep that worry in perspective so that it doesn't get out of control. Well, I like to say when I'm working with parents or talking to parents that when a child feels in control of his or her environment, they tend to be less anxious. We know that anxiety can really get in the way of thinking and learning. So you're doing a good job keeping the environment safe for her by letting her worry a little bit, but not letting it get out of control. If your child is struggling to cope with pandemic-related anxieties, share your story in the comments below and check out the rest of From Our Family to Yours for more helpful stories and advice from the understood community. And remember, you're not alone. Until next time, this has been From Our Family to Yours. Thanks for watching.